Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the After Hours Lounge. We are brought to you by Bellevue University. Head over to bellevue.edu, register for classes, become a Bruin tonight. We got a great show lined up for you. Speaking of the Bruins, their head soccer coach on the men's side, Mark Heath Preston, will join us at 6:15 tonight. We're talking softball with Mike Gentry, the head softball coach at Ralston High School. At 6:30, we will buy or sell on several different topics around the sporting world. At 7:15, which of the major three men's programs in Lincoln will have the best future in the next 5 years? Well, won't, should is featuring tonight at 7:15. And then Tyler Zahn, the head football coach at Ralston, will join us at 7:30 with his Rams as well. John, you were infamously absent last night.
I was indeed. Took the night off.
Show went off without a hitch. There were zero problems last night, right, Dan?
None at all. No problems.
Nobody to argue with.
We didn't get your take yesterday on the Matt Rule discussion surrounding, and you can get the show at After Hours 1620 on Twitter as well. Talking about when the red light goes on or when people are around, there seems to be a problem with this program. Paraphrasing a little bit, but essentially what he said. We didn't get your thoughts on that. Do you have takes?
Yeah, I think this is maybe finally identifying what the big problem with Nebraska football has been over the past few years. We heard so often that, man, these guys do these great things in practice. The reporters go to practice and they have great reports about how these guys are doing things so well and everything is going off so smoothly. And the coaches come back with great reports about this guy or that guy, and then they show up on Saturday and fall on their face. You know,
sometimes literally.
Yeah, and the speech from Matt Rule that we got sort of the inside look at when he's saying, you guys do the right thing every day until there's people here. And then you start going off and you start getting in fights and you start doing the wrong things when there's someone watching you. And I think that is a culture thing. That is something that has to be like identified and changed. And if you're not, I guess, aware enough, if you're not like in tune with the program enough, it might be something that you could miss, right? That like, okay, we're doing all the things right in practice. Why aren't we doing them on game? Like, how does it not translate, right?
I brought this up with Dan yesterday, and it made it like we look at Luke Reimer and Ty Robinson and Nash Hutmacher and all these guys coming back is just a net positive overall. And it may be different for those guys because Matt Rule specifically called out a couple of guys in that huddle, but it makes me wonder, like, is it an overall net positive? Because I think those guys are different, and I think they're obviously vastly important to the season. But overall, is it going to be better when there is almost a full turnover of this roster? There's just a different mindset in that
when there's nobody there who played for the old regime,
that it just doesn't have that the other shoe is going to fall eventually mentality.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that those guys do, and I don't know them personally, and I don't want to put that on them. But I'm sure there are a few people that are still holdovers that may have that kind of philosophy about when things go wrong and the wheels kind of start to fall off.
Yeah, I think it's also about not going rogue when the lights get turned on, right? Like doing the things that you've been trained to do, not only when you're in practice and the coaches can stop and correct you if you don't do it right.
Yeah.
But in the game when it matters.
And
right?
that's
because there's no stopping the play to correct you if you did something wrong.
Yeah, especially if the ball's going the other direction.
Yeah, you got to play the play out, and sometimes that results in points the other way if you're not doing it properly, right?
And that kind of made me happy listening to Tony White speak, and the defensive coordinator took to the podium today, and he said that right now, he specifically said the head coach, Matt Rule, is running drills specifically about scenarios. It's not about 3rd and 4. It's, hey, it's 3rd and 4 with 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the third quarter. And if we don't convert here, like they're doing things to set themselves up to be successful in game, in real time situations. And for me, that is where the head coach himself specifically struggled last year. That's my biggest red flag when it comes to Matt Rule. So when we're hearing the stuff about ball security and then we're seeing it on camera and then we're hearing about guys being different when the red light goes on and then putting those same guys in situations to better themselves, that is the one thing I will say is different about this coaching staff, not even compared to the last one, but the last two, where they're finding their deficiencies and actively working on them.
Yeah, the other thing I'll say, like relating this back to the other coaching staff, one of the things I think that it shows you when players are doing a certain thing in practice, and then when they get on the game field, they're doing different things. is they don't necessarily believe in the things they're being taught. They don't
Yeah.
necessarily believe in the things they're doing in practice. They don't trust that those things are going to work when it comes down to actual
And you hope that's not the
football.
case currently.
Right. And again, those are habits that have to be broken. Right. Like if you come into a situation where your team is like, yeah, we do these things in practice, but once we get on the field, it's a little different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if your older players are not necessarily, I don't think that anyone's explicitly saying that, but they're showing
it'd be
that.
a huge problem if it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they show that with their actions.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we do this on the practice field, but once you get out there, like you can freelance a little bit.
And the only thing, not that I'm saying it's okay, but the only like crack I could see where that could happen at is in the secondary, right? Because you're going from Evan Cooper to John Butler. There's been some changes. And
it doesn't seem like Butler's going to put up with that stuff.
But I was just about to say, the stuff we've seen from the Chasing 3 documentary over the weekend, like, he's got it dialed in and is already getting figured out. And obviously having Tony White, who was a former defensive back coach there, helps a ton. He brought that up today, specifically when he was asked about that other cornerback spot. And he mentioned, hey, we're rotating everybody in at that spot. If you play safety, you're playing corner. If you play corner, you're playing safety. And we talk about the offensive line and transitional positions and how, most guys need to be able to play all three spots, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is really like forward thinking, in my opinion, as far as the secondary is considered. But when you run a 3-3-5 and you have that many defensive backs, it's almost a necessity where it's like, hey, everybody has to be accountable because you may be needed in that spot at some point.
Yeah, I mean, in this defense, your nickel corner is essentially a weak side safety, I guess you'd call it.
It's kind of a hybrid, and he talked about that with Kobe Brett today. We'll get to that in a second. But
everybody's got to be good in one-on-one coverage. Like, you can't just hide anybody because eventually you're going to get somebody matched up on that extra defensive back you've got out there. So, look, if you can take one of those guys who's typically a strong safety and like cross-train them as the nickel corner, why not?
Well, it's such a benefit to be able to, especially when you have sometimes you're back to the ball and then you're back to the play, to know where the other four guys are going to be in that situation too. And obviously you're never going to be able to cover sideline to sideline with one person, but if you can make up a couple feet or a couple yards in certain areas, it could turn a game. And we've talked about him a couple times this offseason and leading up into the fall camp. And Kobe Brett is a guy we were both incredibly high on when he was at Omaha West Side. And his name got brought up today, and seems to be a guy that's making an impact in that secondary.
Tremendous athlete.
And we talked about him possibly making an impact in special teams this year and maybe making that jump next year. Sounds like Kobe Brett's may be a name that's going to be maybe not necessarily a starter at the beginning of the season, but one of those guys that's going to be chomping at the heels of whoever is going forward.
Yeah, I've always been high on this kid. I remember when I was writing a story on Avante Dickerson at West Side. And I was talking to Brett Freund, who was the head coach at Westside at the time. And he's talking to me about Avante, and he's like, watch this kid over here. This kid's going to be a D1 kid.
Yeah.
And we're hearing Kobe Brett's, possibly pushing for time, maybe a starting job in the Nebraska secondary. And Avante Dickerson is at Utah State.
Yep.
Kind of buried on the depth chart. Like,
yeah, and I mean, listen, those are two completely different paths. I don't want to say one guy's better than the other.
Oh, I'm not trying to disparage Avante Dickerson. Sure,
no, and I just think that like that's kind of the point, though, right? Is like the path you choose is kind of and not that Nebraska is better than Oregon or vice versa, but like when you obviously Avante Dickerson chose to go to Oregon, and then like there's always this draw of the Nike symbol and the money and the multi uniforms, like. I know, and I'm not saying this is what Avante Dickerson did, but there's so many kids out there that see that glim and glitz, and it's like, yeah, but you got a spot? Because that's probably a little bit more important than wearing a jersey on the bench. Like, speaking of the guys that are going to be out on the field for Nebraska this year, there's obviously the two-way communication system now between both the offense and the defense and the sideline. And I thought it was really cool that today Tony White was talking about who they're kind of working in and out with reps. They're going with multiple guys having that helmet and that communication system in, and finding out who the best person is on the sideline to be able to communicate to. He said, it's not just me. It's not just Rob Dvorak. It's not just John Butler. We're trying to figure out the best way and who communicates the best. And it feels like I don't know if it's a little worrisome that we're now, just 18 days away from the start of the season, and this conversation still being had, or if it's really forward thinking and making sure that they're putting themselves in the best spot to have the best communicators, or maybe a little bit of both.
Well, competition at every position, right?
Literally, even on the sidelines. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't worry me that much. I think it's probably a good idea to try out some different things and not just say, well, you're the DC, so you're going to have the communication system, right?
Sure.
Like actually try it out. See who makes it work best. Give it a go. I like it. I think it's a good idea. Be willing to try different things to make it work. That I think that is, after the whole Scott Frost tenure, where it just seemed like they were ramming their head against the wall, trying to do one thing that was not working over and over and over and over again. It is nice to see that, hey,
let's try something.
Let's give it a go. Let's see who can do it. You know, I like it. I think I don't see a downside to it. It doesn't worry me.
So when we talk about the Frost thing, and like obviously we have a year now and like year and a half post is there any part of you that looks back in that tenure and goes, okay, they were trying to replicate what they did at UCF, and it clearly worked there? Because we've talked about this a bunch. Like there was such an emphasis on, we've got to cause a big play, we've got to cause a big play, we've got to cause a big play, and they never wavered from that. And it is what worked in the American Athletic Conference, and it did get them an undefeated season where they did win a Peach Bowl. Looking back, is there any part of you that has any kind of appreciation for they tried sticking with Brought Him to the Dance, or are you just, hey, it didn't work and they should have pivoted?
Yeah, again, it comes back to self-awareness, man. Like at some point you've got to say, like, okay, this is not working. We have to try something different. You know what I mean? At some point you have to do what it takes to win, even if that means not doing the thing you want to do. You know what I mean? Like if you're driving down a dead-end street and you turn around and keep going back down that street, expecting the street to just open up and get you through, like eventually take a different street.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean? If day after day you try to take the same route to work and it always gets you on this dead end street, okay, take a different route next time.
Yeah. And I get that. It's just one of those things that, like, that street at one point did take them to the promised land. You know what I mean?
That street was closed though.
Yeah. So it was
under heavy construction.
It's such a catch-22 because, like, I always think about that when a coach takes a job and it doesn't work out, especially when they don't pivot or try anything different, because like you get hired at that job based on what you did in the past. Right. So I wonder if for head coaches who are such creatures of habit and are not necessarily the most willing to pivot and change in things, if it's one of those conversations you have internally where it's like, hey, we'd like to do something different here, but like we got hired based on the Big Ten having to adjust their system for us, right? And it's one of those things that I always like, yes, it absolutely did not work out, and clearly changes need to be made, but it's one of those, like, I always try to put myself in the coach's shoes, and like I can understand that thought process to some degree.
I can too, for a couple of years.
I mean, that's all I got, but
4 and 3, 4 and change.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. It is tough. It's tough to see in the moment, like that, you know, we need to change, because it obviously worked to a great degree. And the game was different when they brought it to the Big Ten. The level of recruits that he had at UCF were in general higher than the level of recruits they were playing against in the conference. That was not the case at Nebraska. They were equal or lower in a lot. I mean, well, I guess in the West, they there's no excuse for losing all those games in the West.
It's just a different kind of football. Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's part of that. Part of being a good coach to me is adapting to the personnel that you have and the opponent that you're playing. Like, how can we maximize our strengths and exploit the weaknesses of our opponent? That's what makes a great coach.
Speaking of making changes, we're going to have to make a change to the next segment. Mark Keith Preston, the head soccer coach at Bellevue University, was supposed to join us in the next segment. He's no longer able to make it, so we're going to have to change up the show a little bit.
No British talk for John today.
He will be in on Monday, so we'll be able to pick up talk about men's soccer at Bellevue University at that point. The last thing that Tony White kind of hit on today was the accountability portion of what's going on in practice. And he said those guys on the defensive line, when someone acts up, they have to go, or if they get out of line, they have to go deal with Nash or Ty and those older guys. And they really don't like to do that. we've often heard, and not to make this staff versus that staff for this entire segment, but we often heard Coach Frost and the rest of his staff kind of talk about, we need these players to lead. We need these players to lead. We need these players to lead. If this is happening, and it's happening in fall camp, and we no longer hear that we need to have players be leaders of this program, is it fair to say that should also raise the expectations that we've already talked about in the offseason? Or is it such a moot point that, listen, that should already be happening, so that doesn't necessarily equate to wins?
Well, I mean, the best teams are player-led teams. We hear it all the time. The teams that have the players holding other players accountable rather than the coaches having to do it, those are the teams that win the most games. I think the expectations are the same, because I think that was kind of baked into our expectation, was that with all these guys coming back for a sixth year, that was going to be the standard, is that they were going to hold the younger players accountable. Because as Gifford said in the documentary, I didn't come back to lose.
There was another word in there.
There was another word that I edited.
We're going to, like I said, we're going to pivot on the next segment. The color yellow has triggered your boy. We're going to talk about it on the other side of the break. If you missed this segment, the opening segment,
check it out. Beef with GMAC
at SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620, wherever you may find your podcast at. It was brought to you by Amber Best with Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate. If you are looking for your forever home, look no further than AmberBest.com. That's Amber, BESS.com for live updates on what's going on with the market. You can also see what listings she has available right now. She has a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath townhome with a breathtaking lake view out in Fremont. Check it out today, 2206 Aaron Way in Fremont. You can also see the house at Amber Best. That's BESS.com tonight. We'll be right back talking about sleeves. 1620 zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner back with you once again for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. How's your closet looking as we head toward game number 1 of the college football season? Are you ready? Are you geared up? Are you going to look like $1 million when you head down to the stadium for your favorite team this fall? If the answer to any of those questions is no, you need to make your way to 78th and Dodge and check out Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. They're going to give you the best in polos, quarter zips, hoodies, whatever you need, in all the great brands. Mizzen and Main, Johnny O, Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, whatever you love, they're going to get you fitted up, ready for game day in red, black, gray, green, blue, white, maybe blue with a little Creighton logo on it. If you're heading down to see some Blue Jay sports this fall, they got you covered there. Vests, you need vests? They got vests. Whatever you want, whatever you need, whatever your closet is lacking, you can get that rectified by heading over to Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, 78th and Dodge. They've been dressing Omaha for 50 years.
Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
6:23 on a Tuesday night here on 1620 Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. If you're looking for the ideal college experience this fall, head over to bellevue.edu. Register for classes. It is not too late to register for fall classes at bellevue.edu tonight and become a Bruin. It's time for the Who Wants to Smoke segment. It's kind of me, I guess.
Self call out.
But the proverbial we, are making it a big deal. Like, Garrett McGuire wears a yellow hat to his press conference.
And to practice.
And everybody, well, shucks, isn't that funny? Ha ha. Now the injury jerseys are yellow, too, and that's fine also. Thank you, Dan. Now today, a very sweaty Tony White shows up to his press conference with yellow sleeves on. John, I don't know if you know this about me.
Red only.
But I'm very anal retentive about the color red on Saturdays. Is this something or is this nothing, in your opinion, about a color being introduced to practice? Has not necessarily been present. Now, we've obviously seen green and yellow and blue hats for communication on the sideline to identify the signal colors, which is fine, Dan. It's fine. Are we? Is something happening here, or is this just maybe a troll?
Corn cob helmet's coming. I think the conspiracy theory says that they're trying to just ease it in there. They're going to slide it in. They're going to slide the note under the door. Just get you ready for it, right? It's going to be just casual yellow pops here and there. And in 2 years' time, we're going to have a corn cob helmet.
Have a take.
We've already got the corn chasers. They're already called the corn huskers, which, by the way, yellow is a perfectly fine color to wear at practice. It is not reflective underneath the sun's harsh rays.
That's a good point.
When you're outside in the middle of this
white,
August Nebraska
school color.
heat. And as John already alluded to, yellow is the color of corn. We are the corn huskers. We should support the Nebraska Corn Board and the fact that corn is cool. It's a big lump with knobs. It's got the juice. By the
Nebraska Corn Board.
Dan Campion here for everybody.
No, just here for corn. Put it on my plate. Put it in my mouth.
I wouldn't hate this, except for one caveat.
You're Jimmy Allen and you hate every color that's not red?
No.
Is that the caveat?
The caveat is one of your biggest rivals' main color is yellow. Like Iowa and that shade of yellow.
Is black one of our colors?
But we also wear that color of practice as well for our, I don't know if you know this, there's a tradition called the black shirts.
When did this start?
Charlie McBride bought wrong colored jerseys or something. I don't know. Look it up. But I will say this. I think it's a running gag amongst the coaching staff, and I'm kind of here for it. I do think it's kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, we live in an era of society where doing things to make someone else's eye twitch is like the national pastime. Like
I do
trolling has surpassed baseball as America's national pastime.
I do appreciate that everybody has like helped feed into the bit now, and just every time somebody shows up to practice, like somebody tweeted a picture of one of the reporters wearing a blue coat the other day at me, and I was like, "It's fine. It's not Saturday."
Hey, Obama wore a tan suit. You remember that?
It was a big deal. It was all over this thing called the internet for a long time. That was the Who Wants to Smoke segment. If you missed it, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhour1620 or wherever you may find your podcast. That was brought to you by 402 Barbecue. You can stop 84th and Spring Monday through Saturday. Try my and John's personal favorites, the Cadillac sandwich. It's brisket. It's pork. Stopped off with their world famous smoked mac and cheese. Make sure you mention to Kelly in the team. You heard about them on After Hours. She's going to throw in a free soda with a purchase and the mention of our show. It's 402 Barbecue. Stop by 84th and Spring tomorrow and grab lunch. We'll be right back talking Rams softball here on 1620 Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Bob Williams with Williams Law. Our good friend Bob Williams will be in studio tomorrow dissecting all the legal issues facing professional athletes. You don't have to be a pro athlete to work with Bob and his team. Maybe you're facing a DUI charge. Maybe your son or daughter got in a little too much trouble this summer and they're facing some litigation. And you just need answers. You can get them at Williams Law. Head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight. Work with Bob and his team. Get a free, no-obligation legal consultation to get your rights explained to you and answer your questions tonight. Head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com and book that free, no-obligation legal consultation tonight. It's 6:30 on a Tuesday night here on 1620 The Zone. We're brought to you by Bellevue University. If you're looking for the ideal college experience this fall, you can head over to bellevue.edu, register for classes. You don't even got to go to school on Fridays. The majority of your classes can be done online. You can attend in person if you'd like as well. Check out bellevue.edu and register for classes today. We continue our trek around the metro to talk to all the softball and football teams, and tonight we end up in the heart of Omaha at Ralston, where we're talking to Mike Gentry, the head coach at Ralston for the softball program. Coach, thanks for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Coach, you brought Bayla Bodner, Lily Elsesser, and Mackenzie McCredner with you tonight. We appreciate you ladies being here as well. Coach, for you, 18-9 a year ago, a great regular season, including four of your last five in the W column. How would you sum up 2024?
You know, we had a really good 2024. Probably talent-wise, probably exceeded expectations a little bit, if I'm just being honest. But you know, our competitive drive and just our will to win was fabulous. We had some younger kids that stepped up in very key spots, and you know, they've gotten better this year, and we're really excited.
Ralston softball's a program that's had some success in the past, but hasn't made a state tournament since 2014. What were some of the foundational things you saw
that in, why don't you?
built? I'm leading into the question. All right, this is how you do this. What were some of those foundational things that you saw built last year that can get you back into that conversation?
You know, our biggest focus is we just try to control what we can control. Our core values as a program is effort, attitude, teamwork. So we're always talking about eating. We try to turn that into life things as well. So we have a very strong culture. To me, Ralston's kind of always been one of those places that's very special in the metro. And there's a lot of people that weren't willing to stick around because it is a tough place to coach. I plan on being here for a really long time and making it the job to have in the Metro.
What? Why? Why is it a tough place to coach?
Just a lot of various dynamics.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of kids. There's, we're still working on our competitive organization, our feeder organizations like that, and that takes some time. That stuff takes a village. Where some of the other Class B programs around here have already established competitive programs and different things like that. So there's just various challenges with that.
Does the varying challenges come from the fact that, hey, we're kind of in the middle of the city, but we are Class B and we can only grow so far? Is that kind of why where those challenges come from?
Yeah, we're really landlocked as
Mhm.
far as our district. There's not a lot of new construction going up like you see in like other
Sure.
Class B schools right now. And then just the socioeconomic dynamic is varying, and then we do get pulled in different directions. Where you do have a biggest thing like that I've ran into, where you have a lot of Ralston kids that are going and playing, for some of the other travel organizations, and they really like that fit. And all their friends are going to one of the bigger schools, so they decide to go to a bigger school. So we're really trying to cut down on that and keep as many kids in Ralston that live in the district.
Has there been any specific focus for you with this team in this offseason?
We worked on getting stronger, getting faster. That's really the biggest thing. I really like where we set up talent-wise. We return a lot back in the circle. Just not necessarily reinventing the wheel, just continuing to build off what we had last year.
What are some of the hurdles that you guys faced last year that you won't face this year?
We had a really tough schedule, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
We're opening up, home night against Blair, which was one of the best teams in the state, in my opinion, last year. I just feel like we're going to be overall better. We're willing to accept the challenge and ready to move forward.
Well, let's talk to some of those players that are going to make you guys better. Baylor Gardner joins us in studio tonight. Baylor, for you, you took a trip to Colorado this summer to play club ball. You hit 3 home runs early in your trip out to the mountains. Why was it such a big deal for you to be able to go out to Colorado and have that level of success?
In Colorado, there's a lot of college exposure, and every time I go out there, there's a ton of colleges watching me, and it puts pressure on me, and I play very good.
Did you get that sweet shirt from there?
Yes, I did.
All right.
On one of my trips there.
Very
Right
cool.
on. To me, it always seems like softball teams are such tight-knit groups.
Mhm.
Do you have a sense of what makes it easy to connect when you're part of a softball team?
I think it really depends on like the coaching staff, how like good of leaders are on the team, and how you just bond with everybody in general. If you have communication, I think it's way easier to be there for your teammates. And so I think it's just being able to be coachable.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Your last year in a Rams jersey. What are some of your biggest focuses heading into your from this offseason heading into your senior year?
My biggest focus is to be a leader to the younger people that are coming on, because we do have a lot of freshmen that are coming in. So I really want to be a leader and kind of set an example for what I want the younger people to do for the rest of the years that they're joining.
Do you have any idea what it will take to get Coach involved in one of your TikTok dances?
I don't think a lot of convincing. I think I can
No?
do it.
You in?
As a
All right.
All right.
We'll expect to see it.
you just mentioned it. You got a lot of exposure when you're out in Colorado, but do you have any idea of when and what you're going to do after high school? Like when you're going to make that decision and where you might end up going?
Yeah, I'm planning on going to college for softball,
Mhm.
but I don't really have. I just want to stay close to home, but I do want to play softball.
The dream school is
Nebraska.
okay.
Cornhuskers. I want to be a Cornhusker.
All right. Well,
Right
Baylor,
on.
thanks for being here tonight. We'll go over to Lily Elsasser, who joins us in studio. Lily, you pitch and you play second for the Nebraska Venom 18U team this summer. Will you be playing both at Ralston as well?
Yes, I will.
Which do you prefer?
I don't know. I like them both the same, but I really like having the ball in my hand in the circle and being in control.
Very cool.
You're a senior. What's the standard that you're trying to set for the team? What are those things, the little things you're looking to hold accountable and make this team take the next step?
The standard I try to set is there's always room for improvement. And so expecting 100% effort out of everyone and getting everyone to have that winning mindset that it takes.
You get a run to state in tennis a year ago. You end up playing for a district championship in softball a year ago. How high are the expectations for you in this senior class?
Well, I also set that standard for myself that I can always improve. So I definitely hope this year is better from last year and that I've improved in the off season. So I expect pretty high things for myself, and I don't want to take advantage of like I'm the senior, I'm older. Like I still need to play my game and just do my best.
Jimmy mentioned it, tennis and softball, and doing these interviews with all the teams. There's a lot of crossover that I'm noticing between softball players and tennis players, and I mean, it kind of makes sense. Obviously, hand-eye coordination is required in both, and I just wonder what it's like for you switching between those two sports.
Um, Honestly, I think practicing for one sport makes me better for the other. There's a lot of things in them that are alike. One thing that I didn't think about when I joined playing tennis was like the spin on the ball. I watch the spin a lot when I'm hitting, try and read where the pitch might be thrown. But also in tennis, there's a lot of spin on it. Try to read the bounce, be able to play it.
What does life after high school look like for you?
Staying close to home, but playing softball in college, hopefully.
And any interest in playing tennis at the next level?
I thought about it, but unfortunately, they're the same season.
Sure.
So I gotta choose one, and I'm choosing softball.
Singles or doubles?
Singles.
Okay.
Singles.
Lily, thanks for being here. We're going over to Mackenzie, who joins us in studio as
Thank
well. Mackenzie, you spent time this summer playing for the Nebraska Gold 15U team as well. What do you think has been your biggest improvement throughout the summer heading into this fall season?
I definitely think that my biggest improvement was definitely my mentality for it all. Just being able to stay tough, even though going through a tough loss sometimes. Just being able to stay in the game no matter what happens. And if people make errors, It's okay.
How do you take that experience of losing in the districts last year and turn that into motivation for this year?
Just making sure that we stay on track and that we help each other out for certain games. Knowing that we have each other's back also can really help us.
What's more nerve-wracking, playing softball or doing a radio interview?
Radio interview.
Hey, you're going to be a junior this season, and obviously that means you're going to be an upperclassman. How is your role going to change from a leadership standpoint this season?
Just being an upperclassman, just making sure that we help out the underclassmen stay on track, even in school and on the field. Just making sure that they stay over what they need to do.
What's the most difficult part of the softball season for you?
Definitely staying like mentally healthy and physically healthy, making sure that we take care of our bodies, icing what we need to ice, and mentally just like knowing that if we need a break, taking that break that we need to take, and just staying on track with our body.
What's your favorite vegetable to eat?
Probably broccoli.
Okay. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it, Mackenzie. Coach, we'll go back over to you to wrap this thing up. As my co-host has rudely pointed out twice now, it's been a while since you guys have been to state. How does this team not only get back to districts, but win it and get to Hastings?
Staying healthy. I really like our talent. I really like our competitive drive. You asked earlier about like what, setback last year.
Mhm.
Bay last year, I think in game 8 or 9 roughly, broke her hand. She was off to a hot start, drove in 12 early on, hit 4 bombs really big. And losing her for the majority of the season was really hard to do. But we had some younger kids step up, especially her younger sister, which was nice.
What's her sister's name?
Lucy.
Shout out to Lucy.
Shout out. Shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, your sister didn't do it, but Coach took care of you, Lucy.
So, the younger kids, they put in a lot of time, with their competitive teams, with the summer program, with the weight program, working on speed and agility and different things like that. We're going to be a lot deeper this year, which is going to be nice. So if we can stay healthy, I really like our chances.
Is it fair to say with the health situation, the run you guys went on last year, and the players you have coming back, that this team's expectations should be to get to state this season?
Yeah. It really is. Last year we, wild cards, we were probably one of the first teams out last year. We were really anticipating making that next round, and it really just came down to probably, in my opinion, one loss. If we pick up one more win, that's probably what did it. So this year, our goal is to control our own destiny. We don't want to leave it up to PowerPoints. We want to go out and we want to prove that we're one of the best teams in the state, and we're up for the task.
We've talked a lot about the X's and O's, the nuts and bolts of playing the game. Tell me about the personalities on this team. What's the personality of your team like?
And if y'all have not been to a Ralston softball game, you need to go. We are fun. We got a brand new facility on campus, which is awesome. If you haven't been there, brand new turf field. It is. Probably one of my favorite. We really embrace that team mentality, that eat mentality. we definitely will hold each other accountable, but at the same time, we're going to be the first ones to celebrate our victories and the small things, the little things.
Who are some people behind the scenes that help make this program go and help make facilities like that become a reality?
Oh man, I cannot thank the taxpayers of Ralston for enough for the brand new facilities that we have and just the upgrades overall within the district that we have. Doc Adler was very instrumental in that.
Mm.
He recently retired as our superintendent. Our
Yep.
now current superintendent, Dr. Jason Buckingham, has been phenomenal. We have an amazing administration staff at the high school that's extremely supportive. Our activities director, Clint Williams, is phenomenal. We got great training staff. Me and Sass were talking about the other day, actually it was yesterday. I really feel blessed to be a part of the program, and I feel like I was lucky enough to run into this program right at the right time when all the cards are kind of aligning for us.
Coach, well, we appreciate you being here. We feel lucky having you guys in studio again this year. Good luck this fall. We'd love to catch up with you when you guys eventually do punch that ticket to Hastings.
Hopefully we do. Thank you for having
That's
us.
the Ralston softball program. If you missed their segment tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620 or wherever you may find your podcast. That was brought to you by Cunningham's Pub. 2 great locations, one in Blackstone, one in the Old Mill District as well. Tuesday special is a brisket French dip sandwich with caramelized onions, Swiss cheese, and horseradish sauce. Along the side, you can get some au jus to dip with as well. All on a hoagie roll. Stop by Cunningham's, grab dinner and drinks tonight. We'll be right back finding out what's trending on social media here on 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Forsman's Finest Decks. Maybe your house is just kind of, you're missing something. You can't figure out how to spice up the way your house looks. Maybe it's just missing a deck on the back of it. Let Forsman's Finest Decks come have you enjoy the finer things in life by building a deck, put a cover on it, add that something that your house has been missing. Head over to forsmansfinest.com and have your dream deck built this summer. Forsman's Finest Decks, building the finest decks in Omaha. 6:48, putting a bow on the first hour inside the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Bellevue University. Head over to bellevue.edu, register for classes, and become a Bruin tonight. It's time to find out what's trending on social media with Disco Danny Dynamite, the head producer here at After Hours.
The only producer here at
The head
After
producer.
Hours.
Yeah, it makes you sound more
That
important.
nickname is sticking.
It is.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
So,
he said unsincerely.
So for this one, to be honest, we're in the dog days of summer. I didn't really feel like going to any NFL training camp videos because,
dude, it's 74 degrees outside. It's no longer the dog days of summer.
74 degrees is still summer.
Okay.
Let me know when it's 50 degrees outside.
No, I can't wait.
I love sleeves. I love fall.
Do you? Do you love long pants too, Dan?
I do love long pants.
Famously. Go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, the other thing I love long pants for actually is golf. And we have a crazy golf video from somewhere actually that John is a little bit familiar with.
Oh, okay.
So shout out to you, John.
All right.
This has something. Go ahead.
Here comes the
South Africa.
Right away. Right away knows it. We're going to skip forward to about the 40-second mark of this video.
All right, Dan. Can you just break down what's happening?
Of course.
This is not great radio.
It's perfect radio.
I figured we needed to give people a very calm sounding video for what I can only assume is the least calm thing I've ever seen in my life.
Let me guess. I was not watching the video. I was listening to it just like the rest of you out there at home.
Yep.
Lions on the golf course.
So close.
Okay.
I was going to say alligators.
Apparently, a bunch of hyenas came.
Okay.
And they killed an antelope on the 18th green at Skakuza?
Skakuza, yeah.
Yeah.
That's in Kruger Park.
Nicely done, Dan.
In Kruger Park. And a crocodile limped up and said, well, I am going to finish this snack.
Nailed it.
And the crocodiles and the hyena got into a very lovely fight.
Do we know who won?
Hyena fight.
Who won?
The crocodile.
Yeah.
It was like, it like hissed at him and did its little like kind of crocodile roar and was like, nah, I'm going to finish my dinner. Thank you.
John, you're a man of the world.
Yeah.
What is the most interesting animal you've come across?
Ooh. Well, I've been to the Kruger Park a few times, so I've kind of seen all the things in Kruger. The most interesting?
Like, what's the most interesting animal you've seen in real life outside of a zoo?
Yeah, so like we saw a leopard with an impala up in a tree. We saw that one time in the Kruger.
Just going to town.
Yeah,
having dinner?
it had caught the impala and then taken it up in the tree as leopards do.
Yeah.
The animal, not the car, for anybody who
Yeah.
may be confused.
I don't know about that.
Rhinos are way bigger in person than you think they are.
Oh, yes. True story. Dan, we don't need to know about what you were doing in the backseat of an Impala. We're good.
Oh no, it was one of the clues for like a crossword puzzle. It was like on both a Chevy and this animal. And I was like, it's a horn. It's a horn. And Mary kept on being like, what is a Chevy Impala?
Oh no.
And I was like,
Let me
I
tell you
don't know
about
if we can be friends anymore.
I'll tell you about 2008, Mary.
Yeah.
The scariest moment of my life. We were in when I was living in Daytona. We were in the ocean, and a water moccasin swam by me, and I don't think I've ever been that scared of anything in my entire life. You don't know what a water moccasin is? Look it up. They're not fun. But from maybe the most embarrassing moment of my entire life. I was in Mexico. There were children with our party, and I was maybe making fun of a 6-year-old for being afraid of an iguana. And one ran across my foot, and I didn't know what it was, and I may have jumped and screamed like a little girl. But iguana feet, sharper than they look, by the way.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Coolest one I've ever seen is I was out fishing in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan one time.
Very on brand.
And I was just slowly trolling around the river, and I saw, like, at the very tippy top of a tree, a bald eagle.
Yeah.
And so naturally, I was like, wow, this is cool. I'm going to, like, troll in, cut the motor, and just, like, sit underneath this tree with this bald eagle and see if I scare it away. I did not scare it away. I got to stare at the bald eagle for like another solid 3 minutes. And then it reared up, flapped its wings twice, and then went into a straight dive into the water, came out with a fish, and just flew back up to the perch.
That's awesome.
I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I was walking my dogs one time, and my lab is famously blind. Saw a cute little bunny just sitting in the grass. Didn't think anything of it. I was like, yeah, my dog won't bother. He doesn't even know it's there. This hawk sweeps down like maybe a foot in front of my dog's face and just picks this bunny up and just flies off with it. And if anybody's ever heard a rabbit die, it's probably the saddest sound in the world.
Yeah.
Just listen to that for about 30 seconds as the hawk flew off with it.
One of our coolest experiences. Okay, it's a bird, yes, but it's exceedingly rare. It's called the southern ground hornbill. When you see one in the Kruger Park, you are supposed to notify the rangers of the location and how many you saw because they're so rare.
Oh, okay.
And they're trying to like track the population. So the last time we were there, we're on our day drive.
Kind of looks like a pelican meets a turkey.
Yeah. We saw a pod of them like walking across the road. And so we immediately stop and we're out there watching them. Southern ground hornbills take a bath in dirt. That's what they do.
Like mud or like
they scoot themselves down into the dirt and then flap their wings so that a whole bunch of dust comes up, and they like shake around in the dirt to get it all over themselves. And I don't exactly know why they do that, but it's a weird sight.
Feels like a mating ritual, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. That's probably the rarest sighting that we've had.
New poll question up at After Hours 1620 on Twitter. Do you know what a southern ground hornbill is? Listen, that was the social media soundbite tonight. If you missed it, check it out at soundcloud.com/After Hours 1620 or wherever you may find your podcast. That was brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Are you the decision maker in your company? Google your business right now. Do you like what you see? Are the reviews you're supposed to have on Google showing up? If not, you need to get a hold of Courtney, the Google gal, and the team at Pixel Fire Marketing. Head over to pixelfiremarketing.com. Build your Google business profile. Engage your brand online today with Dan DeSive and the crew. Check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details today. We're buying or selling Jason Tatum, 2028 Olympics. Should he go? We'll tell you. Let's have a break. If you listen to After Hours every single night and you pass the time during breaks by staring at your sink because the water is just building up night in and night out, you need to get a hold of our friends at AX Plumbing. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for our friends at AX Plumbing. You can head over to axpservice.com tonight. Work with Nick and his team to diagnose your plumbing issues. Maybe you have tree roots that are rearing their ugly heads again. He can fix those problems permanently for you. Whether you own a home or a business, AX Plumbing is here to help. Check out axpservice.com for an estimate tonight. It's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night here on 1620 The Zone. Is your refrigerator running? We're brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. If you have been affected by the seasonal storms, or maybe you have a little bit of damage, you don't know if you should be working with an insurance agent or not, head over to pyramidroof.com and book a free estimate and work with the #1 roofer in Omaha today. It's time for Buy or Sell. Dan Campanen is with us tonight.
Yes, I am.
Hi, Dan.
Guess what, guys? Many in the national media feel like after registering 2 did not plays on the stat sheet in the Olympics, Jason Tatum should not even participate in the 2028 games. Buy or sell, the NBA champion should feel slighted and sit out on the next Olympics.
Absolutely not. Sip your tea and go be happy to be a part of this team. Who are you going to bench in this situation? Kevin Durant or LeBron James? No. Like, okay, maybe Steve Kerr could have found some minutes for him on this team, but is that really Steve Kerr's job when we're talking about Team USA? They are 2 of the best and on the Mount Rushmore of their time in the NBA. Jason Tatum is a very, very good player. He was the only American on the first team All-NBA list this season. With that being said, he's not better than LeBron James. He's not better than Kevin Durant, and he was never going to start on this team. And this is big boy basketball. There's no participation trophies. You still get your gold medal. You're still a part of this team. You played in every other game. It's fine. Just go be the captain of the next team.
Yeah. LeBron's not playing in the next Olympics. I feel pretty confident saying
I think
that.
that's a fair guess.
Yeah, neither is KD, and neither is Steph, allegedly.
So
John's just guessing by their age.
Jason Tatum probably will be a frontline starter.
Yeah.
In the next Olympic
if not
Games.
the captain, by the way.
Yeah. Nah, he should definitely not. Like, you got to be on the team, played behind some legends. Now go be a legend next time. Like, it'll be your turn the next one. It's fine.
Dan is ready.
Stop whining.
Yeah, if Jason Tatum is a captain on the 2028 Olympic team, I will riot.
Oh.
I will be a one-man riot.
He just
in the
won the
streets.
NBA championship and led the team in scoring in the finals.
Congratulations. You know what he didn't win? Finals MVP.
No.
You know
the guy
who
that
is the heart and soul of this United States of America and this United States team next go around? His name starts with an A and ends in Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is going to be the captain of the next Olympic team because he is electric. He is a great interview and he deserves it. He is the rising talent on this team who, guess what he did? Guess what he did in this Olympics, Jimmy?
Played
basketball. That's the whole thing. He actually played the sport of basketball.
Why don't we just make Jordan Love the captain of the Olympic basketball
Hey,
team?
Dan, who do you root
He doesn't play basketball.
Dan, who do you root for in the NBA?
No one?
Who was that?
Minnesota Timberwolves. Jimmy. Josh Peterson famously likes running, has a running podcast.
Oh, I didn't see Josh. I must have been the guy who was interviewing.
It was, yeah.
Okay. What's the next question, dude?
Michigan head coach and my guy, Sherrone Moore, told the media today that former Wolverine head coach Jim Harbaugh will not be an honorary captain in their season opener. This clearly is due to the ongoing investigations into Michigan football, but buy or sell that this is the right move by the Maize and Blue.
Sell. This was not the right move. The right move was to never have him announced as a co-captain in the first place. This was obviously a bad idea, and their attempt to thumb their nose up at the NCAA, and now they're going to have to backtrack on it. They don't care. Michigan's so smug about this. Like it's. I mean, they literally just slightly tried to slide this under the rug at a press conference today.
Jimmy, you stole the words right out of my mouth. They should have never tried to do this in the first place because they're also under investigation by the NCAA for another thing.
Yeah.
And, flipping the middle finger to the boss is fun and all, except when the boss is looking at you for potentially punitive action. Like, that's not the time when you flip off the boss.
Yeah, not
a
great look.
Now it's not the time, guys.
Dan?
John, what the hell are the Commanders doing?
I have no idea.
Many are asking.
They have signed Martavius Bryant. You may remember him from such hits as the 2017 Steeler and the I failed that drug test in 2018 and haven't been in the league since. Buy or sell, adding a guy who hasn't made an NFL roster in 6 years makes sense.
It makes absolutely perfect sense, Dan, because you're talking about the Washington Commanders.
This is very on brand.
Nothing is out of bounds when it comes to this franchise, everything stupid is smart, and everything smart, they will not do it.
I'm going to throw your boys a little bit of a life raft here. It is the preseason. This is the time to add guys to see if they still got anything left in the tank, because you could just cut them eventually. I don't hate it. It's fine. I mean, he's had some great numbers in the indoor football league, as well as the Canadian Football League as well. So maybe I mean, we've seen Randy Gregory battle some drug issues and come back and be able to be a high level player. I'm not willing to write him off yet. I just don't mind this because it is still August 13th.
It's the right answer. And I don't know why I wrote this next question, but
No.
let's just hear how you guys answer this.
Okay.
When asked if the Packers have a number one wide receiver, my head coach, Matt LaFleur, said, quote, "It makes me want to vomit every time I hear someone say number one receiver. We have a bunch of them, and that's just something you guys, aka the media, like to talk about. Well, answer my boy's question for him. Buy or sell, the Packers have a number one wide receiver."
Dan, give us your take first, then we go let our next guests in after you do so.
Oh, okay. I appreciate it. So you guys can crap on me while I'm out in the hallway.
That's exactly
Yeah,
what's going to happen.
exactly
I'm glad you understand how this works.
Because I, too, want to vomit when I hear the number one receiver question. I agree with Matt LaFleur all too much because, to be fair, he's only giving it lip service because of the fact that he hasn't found a number one wide receiver yet. It could be Christian Watson.
It
It
is
could be
Christian
Romeo
Watson.
Doubs. Cross my fingers, cross my heart, whatever I have to cross. I'm hoping it's Romeo Doubs because he played like such a champion last year. And Christian Watson is starting to worry me a little bit because it seems like every year in training camp, they
He
just
gets
have
hurt.
one little thing where it's like, well, he got banged up today. He got tapped on the knee with one of those reflex hammers by a doctor and his ACL just blew up. What the hell?
You don't think it could be Jaden Reed?
I'm a little bit on the fence. Being a rookie last year, he obviously gave a good showing. I'd like to see him continue to develop in year two.
Yeah, I think.
But
it's
I think Dobbs right now is Love's favorite target.
I'll answer this as you walk away, because for me, I
Bye.
think it's going to end up being Jaden Reed. I know he's a rookie a year ago, but he was the leading receiver a year ago. You got guys like Samori Toure on this team that can end up being, solid number 2 and number 3 guys. They have a lot of role players, but this is kind of who the Green Bay Packers have been for the better part of 20 years. They've always, yes, you've had your Antonio Freemans and your Donald
Driver,
Donald Drivers of the world, but a lot of
Devontae
times,
Adams.
a lot of times you've had wide receiver by committee in Green Bay, and it's worked out because you've had the quarterbacks that have been able to develop.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily hate that answer.
I do hate this answer because they don't have a number one wide receiver. They have a bunch of number twos. They have a bunch of guys who are good when someone can take the coverage away from them. And they need that consistent, like, freak athlete that can be the attention hawk to take pressure off the other guys so that they can shine. I don't think that they have a guy
Look how
who can
quickly-
break down a game by
Look how
himself.
quickly your boy got back in the room, by the way.
So fast.
John does not think you guys have a number one wide receiver.
And that's fair because he's a Commanders fan. And what do they have except for
Terry
sadness?
McLaurin, who's the number one.
And wide receivers that haven't played in the league in 6 years. Dan, do you have a random Dan question tonight?
Actually, I did. Oh, yes. The NFL preseason has started. We all know that John hasn't watched a single second of tape on any of these guys yet.
That's not true. He watched the whole third quarter of the Texans-Bears game in LA with us.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, there you go. I retract my earlier statement.
As you should.
But, Jimmy,
Dan?
your favorite rookie quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, now needs knee surgery. Buy or sell, we ever see him be the number one quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings?
This is kind of stealing my thunder of my last call take.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So there is still doubt out there that if the meniscus just needs to be scoped, I believe is the terminology, he could still be back before the season starts. But if it's a full repair, he'll have to miss a couple of months. So I think that he's going to give it the go, and I think he's going to end up playing. And I think not only do I think he starts eventually for the Minnesota Vikings, I think he does it this season.
I don't think he starts this season. I think that the plan was always going to be to give J.J. McCarthy a year to develop because I don't think he was ready. This just sets
He won a national championship, John. How dare you?
Let's tell me about other quarterbacks who've won national championships and how they've fared in the NFL.
Not
Did
most of
Peyton
them
Manning ever win a national championship?
He did not.
Did
No,
Tom
Nebraska
Brady ever
kicked
win a
his
national
ass.
championship?
No.
No, he did not. arguably two of the best of all time. National championship in college doesn't mean much once you get to the NFL. I don't think he's a starter this year. I don't think the plan was ever to make him the starter this year. And so to me, it's not that big of a deal.
NFC North guy, you got any takes? It's your question.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think this doesn't bode well for JJ McCarthy to already be hurt in training camp on his rookie deal. It just never fares well for most of these guys when they get hurt this early into their professional career. Now, granted, I'm fine with it because if they trot him out there as the starter, there's a man named Rashawn Gary who wears glasses and is nice and soft-spoken and seems like such a fun guy to hang out with until you get between the lines with him, and he'll rip your head off.
Dan, who do you root for in the NFL?
The Green Bay Packers. Go Pack, go.
If you missed the buy or sell segment tonight,
what
check
football team do I own?
SoundCloud.
Is that what you're asking?
SoundCloud.com/afterhours 1620 was brought to you by Pepper Jack's Grill. 10 great locations throughout the Omaha area. If you can hear the sound of my voice, you're probably somewhere near Pepper Jack. Stop by, grab yourself a steak rice bowl. I throw grilled onions, grilled mushrooms, grilled green peppers on top of it. Make sure you throw some spicy ranch on there. You'll be happier than Sam Darnold after the news today. Grab Pepper Jacks tonight and enjoy dinner. We'll be right back with Will Won't Should. Which of the big three men's athletic programs in Lincoln have the best 5-year span coming up? We'll talk about it when we come back from the other side of the break.
Hey, everybody, it's John Schreiner here for Bob Williams at Williams Law. If there's a legal situation pending in your life or the life of someone you know, well, you need to give them the good advice that they can go get the good advice that they need from Bob Williams. You heard it here first. Call him at 402-522-6317. Whether that's a DUI, whether it's civil litigation, or maybe there's another legal situation that's pending in the life of you or someone you know. Bob's going to give you a free, no obligation legal consultation. He's going to explain your rights, walk you through the legal process, and explain how you can get the best representation. The number again, 402-522-6317. Get that free, no obligation consultation today, or check out WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight.
7:15 on a Tuesday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. You don't become the number one roofer in Omaha for 13 consecutive years by accident. Head over to pyramidroof.com, where you never have to settle for less, and book a free estimate today. They do everything: windows, gutters, siding. They can do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com tonight. It's time for Will, Won't, Should. And we're going to take a different approach to it tonight. Will Bolt, the baseball coach down in Lincoln, just signed himself an extension, will be at Nebraska for the next 5 years. So it got me to thinking about the big three men's programs in Lincoln, from the football program, baseball, and men's basketball. Who has the highest ceiling over the next 5 years? So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to debate will, won't, should the Nebraska men's basketball team win an NCAA tournament game. Will, won't, should the baseball team make it to the College World Series? Will, won't, should Nebraska football make the college football playoff over the next 5 years? And I started off with won't. And despite the contract information that came out today, I don't think that Nebraska will make it to a College World Series in the next 5 years, just because it is so difficult to make that run from the Big Ten because of the negative connotations around the league. And yes, I know that Michigan just did it in the last 3 years, et cetera, et cetera.
Played for national title.
And I get that. And I get all of that. I don't see I think Will Bolt is a really good coach. I think they overachieved this season. I mean, a lot of people were a little skeptical about this extension. He just won the first Big Ten tournament championship in school history this season. I think he absolutely deserved it. I just don't know if they're going to be able to compete at that level consistently enough and just be able to catch lightning in a bottle and go on a run.
My won't makes me very sad to say, but they will not win an NCAA tournament game in basketball
5 years
in the next 5 years.
I know they've never done it, but man, it felt like they were close this season. And I think they're going to regress a little bit this year. But
and look, I'm a fan of the basketball program in Lincoln. I have been a fan of the basketball program in Lincoln for as long as I can remember. I'm a fan of Fred Hoiberg. I like what he's doing.
Does that mean he won't be here in 5 years?
But the hurdles that you have to overcome to get Nebraska to that point, the historical stink that's on this program,
yeah, that's a good point,
is so hard to wash off that of the three, this is the hardest one to do.
You think it's harder to win an NCAA basketball game
at the University of Nebraska?
At Nebraska.
Yep.
Okay. Dan?
I am in total agreement with John, because unlike John, this doesn't hurt my heart to say, I am a Creighton homer. I have been ever since I made it to the city and officially declared myself a Jaysker.
Hashtag roll Jays.
You got that right. I really like Fred Hoiberg. Everywhere I go, the people who know about college basketball talk about Fred Hoiberg and how good of a coach he is. And I have to go, yeah, he's a really good coach when it comes to Big Ten play. But then if they make it to the tournament, they just kind of fall flat and just don't really perform all that well. I don't see them winning a tournament game within the next 5 years.
They don't in the next 3. Is Fred gone?
Depends on how it looks.
That's a good point. My should is the football program making the playoff. And that entire athletic department is all in to make sure that you are successful. You have an athletic director that's just saying yes, 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 yes to everything your head coach is asking for right now. The NIL collective is hitting on all cylinders. You just added a 5-star freshman quarterback that is promised to be the savior and turn this thing around. All things are pointing to over the next 5 years. There's 12 of them now. So you get an automatic bid from your conference.
And there might be more than 12 within 5 years.
And there probably is going to be. So I think that you absolutely should make a playoff run with what you have in Lincoln right now over the next 5 years.
I think Nebraska baseball should make the College World Series within the next 5 years. For the simple fact that the Big Ten is weak and you can stack a lot of wins. And if you can stack a lot of wins, you capture that one season where you roll through the Big Ten slate, win a bunch of games, and you get a chance to host a regional. Right? Nebraska.
Can they host a super regional? Let me ask you this. If they host a super regional, does that almost equate to making the College World Series? Because that's never happened.
Yeah. But it's also, you have some schools now in your conference, in USC and UCLA, who you can actually use as RPI boosters.
Good point.
Rather than just playing a bunch of teams that are going to hurt your RPI. So in the next 5 years, I think Nebraska should be able to make a College World Series.
Dan?
I think that Nebraska is going to make should make the College World Series. They just paid Will Bolt all that money, and
It wasn't. I mean, he's going to make $500,000 a year, but go ahead.
that's
Baseball
perfectly fine.
coach is pretty good.
Yeah.
He's going to make all that money, and Will Bolt has kind of proven over the last few years that he's got some sort of recruiting pull, at least to get top level talent that can actually make it into the MLB and can actually perform.
Lance Harville's a dude.
Which it bodes well for him that he has kind of the track record to say, hey, these guys played for me. Now they're in the MLB. I think it gives him a little bit of a better recruiting pitch to bring some folks in. And I mean, I've always been a big fan of Will Bolt's mindset and the way that he's been constructing this team. And I think it's just a matter of time until he makes the College World Series.
I'm a 180 of you guys. My will is that Nebraska and Fred Hoiberg will win an NCAA tournament game over the next 5 years. If, big caveat here, they get an associate AD for basketball in-house in Lincoln, with all the focus on the football team. Both men's and women's basketball programs need a designated voice in that office, and I think that is what is missing sorely from the Nebraska athletic department. And with a guy that is as forward-thinking as Fred Hoiberg is, and in my opinion is overachieved in a lot of the seasons despite not making the tournament in some of them in Lincoln, if he gets somebody that is in his corner specifically that can help him navigate the waters of big-time college basketball while the football program is still doing their own thing, I think that is how Nebraska not only wins an NCAA tournament game, but becomes a continual tournament team.
It's an interesting caveat. See if it happens.
What will happen?
Get your Kool-Aid ready.
Here it is.
My flavor is black cherry. You can choose whichever one you like as long as it's red.
That's right.
Nebraska in the next 5 years will make a college football playoff. I mentioned earlier, this thing's probably going to expand sooner than later. If it expands to 16, with the momentum that Nebraska has, the Matt Rule effect, Dylan Raiola's peer recruiting, in 4 years' time, this roster should be in shape to be one of the top 15 teams in the country. Absolutely should be. If it's a 16-team playoff in 5 years, all you got to do is finish top 4, maybe top 5 in the conference.
You can accidentally do that sometimes.
Nebraska will make the college football playoff in the next 5 years.
Dan?
Will.
Nebraska is going to make the college football playoff in the next 5 years. And I realize that this whole entire time I have sounded like a parrot of John Schreiner, but that is simply because you have placed me after him, Jimmy. But as John already alluded to, I too am sipping on the Kool-Aid, and I am trusting in Matt Rule to be the savior of this Nebraska football program. I like where we're headed. I like who we are. I like the mindset that he has these gentlemen in right now. And I have a feeling, I'll even put my own caveat on it. I don't even think we make a college football playoff in the next 5 years. I think there's a national championship in Nebraska within the next 5 years.
All in, says Dan.
5
Campion.
years, national championship. Wow. That's
This is about my time of year where my expectations start going up and up and up and up and
Same
up.
guy that yelled at me for saying they're going 10.
Are you a 10-2 guy now?
I might be a 12-0 guy here in a week or two.
If this happens, if Nebraska, let's put our future glasses on and look back at history.
Yeah.
If Nebraska does make a college football playoff in the next 5 years, do you, in your mind, will we look back and say it was because of Matt Rule or because of Dylan Raiola? Because one of those two guys will end up getting the credit, and obviously it matters.
I don't think you get Dylan Raiola without Matt Rule. So I think that the chicken comes before the egg in this one.
Dan,
I kind of agree with that. Because
weird. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest. Roles are reversed. Nothing bad happens after that Georgia Southern game. No one gets fired. Scott Frost is still here. And
I think it was more than that Georgia Southern game, but go ahead.
It was a lot more than the Georgia Southern game, but that's when he got fired. So that's where I'm putting the mark in the old chapter of that book that we're writing about Nebraska football right now. Scott Frost is still here. Dylan Raiola definitely doesn't come here.
Correct.
So I see no reason to believe that we can't give Matt Rule the credit, but give Dylan Raiola the accolades.
Okay.
Which, to be fair, if he's good enough, within the next 5 years, Nebraska will have a Heisman Trophy winner and a national champion.
Dan, my goodness. Intravenous
Not
Kool-Aid.
where I thought he was going with this. Hey, if you
we'll have legalized sports gambling.
Please and thank you. If you missed this segment tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. If you're a Nebraska football fan, Dan Campen has got you ready for August 31st. It was brought to you by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, who can get you ready for August 31st as well. You'd stop by and get the premier suit buying experience in the Midwest at 78th Dodge. They'll also get your closet ready for game day as well. And we're talking polos, vests. Maybe you're looking for that brand new Johnny O or Peter Millar shirt that can jazz up the room when you walk into it wearing that shirt. You can do it at Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. They've got vests. They've got everything you need to kick off your football season this fall. Stop by 78th and Dodge. Tell Dan and John and the crew we sent you over there. We'll be right back talking to Tyler Zahn, the head football coach at Ralston, when we come back on 1620 Zone.
Hi there, folks. It's Dan Campen here to let you know what goes great with Kool-Aid, and that is Pepper Jack's Grill. They've got 10 great locations across the Omaha area where I can get my steak gunner Philly with all the vegetables, including that jalapeno juice to make it extra spicy, and of course, my fries with that wonderful ranch that they have. And it all goes great with a Husker football Saturday and all the Kool-Aid that I can drink in a single day. So if you're getting hungry just like I am, and you're putting way too high of expectations on Nebraska football, cool it down with some Pepper Jacks.
7:30 on a Tuesday night here at 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. If you've been affected by the seasonal storms, head over to pyramidroof.com and get a free estimate to answer your questions tonight. We're joined in studio by another group of Rams, the football team, and Tyler's on, their head coach, is joining us in studio. He's brought Connor Brown, Donnie Williams, and Shan Fan with him. Coach, thanks again for being here.
Hey, thank you guys for having us. Always a pleasure to come out and visit with you guys.
I do appreciate the coaches that are repeat offenders and are like, hey, when do we get to come back in? So thank you very much for reaching out and making sure we scheduled this with you tonight.
You bet. Love it.
You guys grabbed the 15 seed in Class B last year, and not the results you guys were hoping against Waverly, but what did this team learn in that experience that's going to benefit them this year?
Well, I think just the overall weight room, their effort that it takes to win in the playoffs, the execution, level of execution. The good news is we've got about 8 returning starters on offense and about 8 or 9 on defense. So we're looking for that experience to take another step up.
What are some of those areas sort of inside the game, on the field on Friday nights, where you're expecting that experience to pay off and be better?
Well, we've got to get better at taking care of the football.
Yeah.
That was one thing that bit us in the tail a little bit a year ago. And a lot of that was youth, and a lot of that was, we were a little bit outmatched physically. I think we've made some strides in those areas, and I think our kids are starting to understand the game a little bit better. Certainly situational football comes with experience, obviously. And I think our guys have worked pretty hard at it over the summer too. So
despite the playoff appearance, it was just 4 wins again last season. How does this team get over that 4-win hump?
Well, I think we really got to, we got to beat somebody good. We've been, pretty competitive, but we haven't been able to get that win or two that kind of gets you up in the top 10 and that kind of arena. So, that's kind of our goal this year. We want to take another step and beat some of these teams or compete with some of these teams that have got the best of us the past few years.
What are some of those important attitude things that you like to see out of your football team?
Well, I think we just have to keep building on our team culture. Culture's, a word that's thrown around a lot, but it really does make a difference when your guys get along with each other and they fight for each other and they battle for each other. So, team culture is a big part of that. And we've addressed that, and we're working hard at that as well.
Well, what are some of the things you do to build that?
Well, we do all kinds of stuff. We've got little competitions with our grade point average. We've got competitions with our watermelon scrimmage. We do a lot of team functions during the week. We spend a lot of time together. So, the better these guys get along and the more that they are all for one for all, it's going to pay off.
Coach Gentry was in here earlier talking about some of the difficulties about coaching at Ralston with the area that the school is in, and then obviously some new facilities just got donated to the school, and there's been some upgrades there too. What are some of the benefits of coaching at Ralston? What are some of the hurdles facing a small Class B school inside the city of Omaha?
Well, some of our benefits are we've got some great kids. They're not afraid to work. They're not afraid to put their hard hat on and go to work and get out there and compete. So that's one good thing about Ralston. I've been there 32 years, so I've seen quite a change in our demographics. So yes, that does pose challenges, but you know what? In the last 4 years, we've steadily improved, and I think we're going to continue to do that over the next couple of years. So.
Coach, we appreciate you being here tonight. We're going to catch up with a couple of your players. And again, we're catching up with the Ralston football team here inside of the After Hours Lounge. We're going to talk to Connor Brown, who joins us in studio. Connor, you do it all for this offense. You catch balls out of the backfield. You pound it between the tackles. What area of your game do you think you've improved on the most in this offseason?
All offseason, I've really been working on my pad level. Prior seasons, ever since freshman year, it's always been a big struggle for me. But coming into this new season, senior year, I really think I got it down and it can benefit us.
How do you feel like a running back can set the tone for a team?
By just playing smash mouth football.
Yeah.
Straight downhill, beating to outside, setting up the pass game. Really helps us out.
We hear in Class B, you have to run the football. You have to run the football. You got to be able to run the football in Class B. Does that kind of bring a smile to your face as the running back of this team?
Of course it does.
Yeah.
More touches, more yards. All I could ask for.
You pretty much have zero social media presence that I could find. Why is that? What is it about you that just doesn't jive with being on the internet?
I like to let my game speak for itself.
Yeah.
And ever since I could even touch a phone or get on the internet, I've never really been into it. Just doesn't really pique the interest in me.
It's your last year in a Rams uniform. What do you want your legacy at Ralston to be?
I want to be known as the guy that the coaches count on. First down 10, 4th and 1, just that all-around go-to guy.
You want to play ball at the next level?
For sure.
What does that look like for you? Have you been a part of the recruiting process at all yet? I mean, have you talked to any schools?
I've talked to a couple of smaller schools,
Yeah.
And all of them have really piqued my interest.
Okay. Well, good luck with that. Good luck this fall. Thanks for being here. We'll go over to Donnie, who joins us in studio as well. Donnie Williams is with us tonight from the Ralston football program. What did you guys see? We talked to Coach about that loss to Waverly in the playoffs. What did you guys see in that game that you think will benefit you this season?
We saw how a team could really play together as one. They all had 11 hats to the ball on defense. They all had 11 people just going at it 100% the whole time.
What about from your side? What did you guys see from you? Like, obviously, it was a very lopsided loss, but was there anything that you guys took away from that game that made you feel like you'll be more prepared this season?
Like leaving that chip on our shoulder. It's been a lot of years since we've been or had our name out there like that.
What's your off season been like? What have you been working on during the summer?
I've been working on like my speed and agility. I feel like I've gotten a lot faster over the years.
Right on.
You had five and a half tackles a game a year ago, and that's obviously incredible. But where would you like to see that number jump to this year? Do you have an individual goal?
Like 8, 9 at least.
At least at a minimum? Okay. Okay.
Linebackers are often looked at as the leaders of the defense. How are you going to exhibit those leadership traits for your defense this year?
Using my voice, getting the plays out, knowing what the D-line's going to do, gap controls and all that. And just getting my defense amped up for the game.
What does life after high school look like for you?
I really do want to play football at the next level. But if not, that doesn't work out, construction probably.
Okay. Any particular reason construction?
It's because I like building. It's like a
Sure.
good hobby of mine. Gets mine off stuff.
Very cool. Okay, well, thanks for being here tonight, Donnie. Good luck this fall. Chan, we'll go over to you. Chan Fan joins us in studio as well tonight. Where do you think you are more valuable on this team, on offense or on defense?
Definitely offense. Even though I don't have much stats from last year, but it will be different this year.
It will be. So
it will be different.
I like that.
Confidence. And what are some of your expectations for yourself this season?
Probably make some big blocks as a tight end this year and make big plays for the team.
Do you know what you're going to do after high school?
Planning to play soccer at the next level. Have been going to camps and stuff, but if that doesn't work out, then probably study in healthcare.
Well, since you mentioned it, you play soccer also for the Rams soccer program. How did you come to love both sports?
I've been playing soccer since I was young, as a little kid, and for football, Coach Zahn here brought me out freshman year.
Put you in a headlock, drug you out to practice.
And I fell in love with it.
What are the biggest differences for you? Because I mean, everybody's a little bit different. What are your biggest differences between when you're on the soccer pitch and the football field?
It's just the pace. Football is more like a fast pace type of stuff, and soccer you just got to be calmed down, and you know.
Well, congratulations on all the success on the soccer field as well as the success on the football field. We appreciate you being here, Coach. We'll go back over to you to kind of wrap this thing up. We're talking to the Ralston Rams football program inside the After Hours Lounge here. Their head coach, Tyler Zahn, joins us. What does this team have to do, not only to get back to state, but win a game?
Well, I think we just got to stay the course. You know, these guys have been with me 4 years now since I retook the program back over. I got a lot of great things to say about these guys. They're great kids. They've really stayed the course for 4 years. I think they've prepared themselves very well. You know, what do we have to do? Again, it goes back to the fundamentals. We got to block, we got to tackle, we got to play physical, we got to take care of the football, and we got to score in the red zone, limit our penalties, limit our turnovers, and get some takeaways.
Is it weird to you that you have a Twitter, but your running back does not?
Not at all. It doesn't surprise me at all. I've been around Connor for 4 years, and that's just kind of the cat he is. He's just a little bit old school.
Sure. You kind of mentioned a few people last year when we had Jin, but is there anybody behind the scenes of the Ralston football program that deserves a shout out or some credit kind of helping make this thing go. And obviously, it takes a village to raise kids and be a part of this program.
Well, we have great assistant coaches. I have a great staff. They work as hard as anybody. I've got great administration that supports our athletics very, very well. And we got great kids. So, like I said, they want to work and they want to get better. And every year they've kind of made that step, not a gradual step of improvement.
Yeah.
And that's what we're shooting for.
Coach, we appreciate you being here tonight. And again, thanks for reaching out and helping us set this up. If you missed the Rams segment tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. Wherever you may catch your podcast that it was brought to you by AX Plumbing. Home or residential, they can do it all. Check out axpservice.com for your plumbing, water heater, gas pipe, or backflow prevention issues. AX Plumbing is locally owned and operated. They'll leave your business or home cleaner than they found it. Check out AXPService.com today. There's even a discount for current and former military members as well. We'll be right back giving you last call here on 1620 Zone.
Hey everybody, John Schreiner here for Cunningham's Pub. It's Tuesday night. You know what that means? Tomorrow is Wing and Whiskey Wednesday when Derek and the crew are going to bring us the fabulous smoked wings from Cunningham's. Oh, if you've not had the wings from Cunningham's, what are you waiting for? Blueberry sriracha, Caribbean jerk, dry rub, the barbecue. It was the smoked barbecue that they brought us in last week with a little bit of chipotle in there. Oh man, I think those are my all-time favorite wings. If you've not had the wings from Cunningham's, you are seriously missing out. And they've got the great tap takeover going on right now. Cross Strain is on the taps. If you love the fairy nectar, check them out. Go in there and get yourself a little Cross Strain, get yourself some wings, any of the great food on the Cunningham's menu at one of their fine locations in Old Mill or in Blackstone. Tonight's special, brisket French dip with caramelized onions, Swiss cheese, and a horseradish sauce. A little cup of that au jus for dipping on a hoagie roll. You do not want to miss this. Everything at Cunningham's is great. The special tonight is killer. Check them out. Old Mill or Blackstone. Get yourself some beer. Get yourself some wings tonight.
I remember when I produced this show for the first time.
That never happened.
It's the After
Not
Hours
every
Lounge.
night needs to have closing time.
It's the After Hours Lounge. It is closing time, despite what you're hearing right now.
Last call for takes.
We like Wiz Khalifa though, so it's okay. But it is time to get our last call in, as John just said. We're gonna give you your hottest take of the night to wrap up the show. But we are brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. If you have questions about the hail damage to your house roof, windows, gutters, or siding, you can get them answered at pyramidroof.com by booking a free estimate tonight. I'm going to start us off because Dan kind of alluded to what my last call take was going to be earlier with the JJ McCarthy stuff. And this is just more of a PSA to anybody out there that indulges in fantasy football. If you have your fantasy football draft before the end of preseason, you're the worst kind of commissioner. And there's probably a couple people that are listening to this right now and they can hear the sound of my voice. And yes, I'm specifically talking to you. I am in a keeper league, in a dynasty league, and you have to draft a rookie quarterback every year. Guess who I took this season?
Well,
yeah, it was
on brand.
JJ McCarthy. Yeah, not thrilled about this. I don't really care about JJ McCarthy, if I'm being honest, but I did have a little bit of an investment in him. Wait at bare minimum. Wait till week 2 of the preseason. Have your fantasy football drafts, people. Please do that. You'll be better off. Your friends will like you more. I can't encourage this enough. John,
I am 100% on board. We have my family league, of which I am the commissioner. Our draft is the weekend before the season starts.
What a good commissioner. That's the way you should do it.
A lot of people are saying this.
I think you should maybe even wait until the night before the first game. I wouldn't have it on a Wednesday.
We have ours on Sunday before the Thursday night opener.
I don't hate it.
All right. Today it was announced that Tennessee
said it's great to be a Tennessee Volunteer.
Is announcing a long-term deal to rename Neyland Stadium.
Oh, that hurt my heart to hear that.
And their corporate partner is none other than truck stop giant Pilot.
I've pooped there before.
Congrats.
Side note, is it totally on brand that Tennessee's now going to play in a truck stop?
Would it be more on brand if it was McDonald's? Like how McDonald's did, no pun intended here, drop this ball.
Yeah, I don't know.
Listen, I mean, you're already associated. Bring Jeremy Pruitt back.
But here's the thing, and here's why I hate it.
Okay.
It's Neyland Stadium. Okay? It's been Neyland Stadium forever. It's been Shields Watkins Field forever.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be Neyland Stadium presented by Pilot, a truck stop company. This is stupid. I understand the need to generate revenue because you have to pay your athletes now, but come on. In the same article from ESPN, where it was announced that the Vols would be renaming their stadium after a truck stop company.
Yeah, this isn't
they had a
big
quote
shoe or anything.
From Nebraska's new athletic director, Troy Dannon, who said, renaming Memorial Stadium is not something I've given 1 second of thought about. And
Good job, Troy.
Yeah, exactly. Applause necessary. Because you have one thing as a fan, when you're a fan of a football team, is the tradition of your program, right? The players change, the coaches change, the staff changes, the uniforms even change, the conference you play in, your opponents, all of it changes.
Rivalries.
Usually the one thing you have is where your team plays its games.
Good point.
The location you go on Saturdays to cheer on your team. And when you corporatize that and give it some stupid truck stop logo on the outside, it cheapens the whole thing, and I hate it.
Especially in an SEC school like Tennessee, where
it's supposed to mean more.
Well, and the tradition is everything. In the South, they love to have tradition for every single thing, and they use it as the reasoning for everything that they do.
You know what they love even more? Winning. Need money to win football now.
Yeah, you need money to win football. You also need truck stops to power America.
Dan, last call?
Well, I do have to ask one question before we go to last call.
Okay.
When is the next time we're having Bob Williams from Williams Line?
Tomorrow night.
Okay, perfect. So maybe I'll hold off on this one. I'm going to send you guys a story, see if it maybe is kind of fun for a Bob Williams segment. I think it would be.
It's kind of hard to find something that isn't fun for a Bob Williams segment, but good.
That's true. Especially when the guy actually comes in like a real lawyer with his yellow legal pad with all of his notes. We love that.
In a suit. Go ahead.
People can see him on video, Jimmy.
That's true. That's a good point.
The Packers are going to go to the conference championship this season. And here's why.
Why, Dan?
We have heard many a comparison to Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. And now the same thing is happening between Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. We've all seen those weird coincidences that life just sometimes has. A butterfly flaps its wings and nuclear war begins. We don't know why it happens, but we do know that it happens.
A Packers quarterback goes to play for the Jets.
And let me tell you,
happens.
In the first preseason game of his second season, Aaron Rodgers threw a very long touchdown pass on the first drive of the game to one of his unknown wide receivers. And just this past Saturday, Jordan Love did the exact same thing. Coincidence? I think not. In Aaron Rodgers' second season, they didn't start off that hot. They got slow in the middle of the season. They ended up being a 6th seed in the playoffs. They ended up winning the Super Bowl. I remember it oh so clearly. This year will once again be the year where Jordan Love shows up, shows out with an underrepresented team and the youngest team in the NFL.
Number one wide receiver.
And wins a championship with Jaden Reed as his number one wide receiver. Came out of left field. Who would have thunk it? Not your boy Dan Campanen.
Jeez.
We are just
my pre-prepared last call was so much better. I promise you that.
We are just a few days away. We're 11 days away from the start of college football with Florida State and Georgia Tech kicking things off. Is there anything from week 0 or week 1 that you're specifically have an eye on in college football?
That Florida State Georgia Tech game is really interesting because don't sleep on the Techsters now. They might be pretty good.
Just landed one of the top 10 players in the country in recruiting, by the way, also. Man, the fact that Miami and Florida are playing in week 0 and it really doesn't get talked about as much just because LSU and USC are obviously playing too. Like, this may be Cam Ward's coming out party. Or what if Billy Napier does it? What if they, like, listen, we've seen Mario Cristobal screw the pooch a couple times, so it's not like Miami's going to be invincible walking into this game. How much different do we look at Billy Napier in Florida's season? Because a lot of people think he may not even make it throughout the year. How much different do we look at Billy Napier in Florida if they're able to upset Miami in the first week? They're only a 2.5-point underdog at home.
I don't know because Florida's had some. They've beaten some decent teams.
That's scheduled some murderers row.
It's going to be the totality of the season. So I don't know. It's one game. It's the first game of the season. I don't believe in Miami anyway.
Ooh, okay. That's a hot take.
Okay.
Real, Miami or Ole Miss?
Ole Miss.
Okay. I disagree.
Oh, we didn't even make it. Tomorrow night, we need to pencil it in. AP Top 25 talk.
Yeah, no, I told you guys we're going to talk about that. We didn't even get to that either.
You're going to hear,
and I thought about it last night,
talk about
too.
it on the Connor Happer show tomorrow. So.
Catch John on the Happer show tomorrow from 10 to 2. You can catch us anytime here from 6 to 8 as the sports schedule allows on 1620 The Zone. You can also catch our radio replay page at 1620thezone.com. Anytime we have high school students in, by the way, because we get asked a lot. Check out zonetv.live where you can always watch our live stream as well. For Dan Campanen and John Schreiner, I've been Jimmy Allen. Happy National Filet Mignon Day, everybody.
Ribeyes better.
I was like, nothing.
Pacific on Fox Sports Radio. Ben Maller.
The General of Degenerates has arrived.
Heard of him?
I've worked with Ben for a long time, and he has all these wild takes and flies off the handle, and, I got to kind of bring him back down. It doesn't work, but I try.
The man is a living monument to ineptitude.
He's Ben Maller, and he's talking all night long.
So I've got Vin Diesel,
Kangaroo Court, and Tommy Lasorda. It's the Ben Maller Show. Weeknights at 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio. The most fearless voice in sports is on FS1. The one and only Colin Cowherd is bold, unique, and outspoken.
Wow.
You can see him on The Herd, weekdays at noon Eastern on FS1 in the Fox Sports app. And here's what you need to know.
Major League Baseball, Dodgers rookie pitcher River Ryan having to undergo season-ending Tommy John surgery, and it puts the rest of his 2025 campaign as well into possible doubt. The Dodgers' starting rotation getting even thinner, but they are in action right now against the Brewers. They're leading 2-1 right now. Bottom of the third inning is Will Smith and Shohei Ohtani going deep for Los Angeles. The Twins and Royals, Minnesota, trying to keep pace with the Cleveland Guardians, and the Twins right now on top of the Royals 7-2. They're in the bottom of the fifth inning in Minnesota. As for Cleveland, in the eighth inning, they are leading the Cubs 2-1, as Cleveland trying to stay ahead 3.5 games in front in the AL Central. The Astros rubbing their hands together. They're leading the Rays 3-1 because they're separated by a half game with the Mariners, who right now are getting absolutely demolished by the Tigers. I'm Kevin Wyatt.
You know who this is? Fox Sports Radio's Odd Couple. One guy's married. One guy is divorced. One guy has no kids. One guy has 2 beautiful daughters. One guy went to college in a cornfield in Ohio. One guy went to an Ivy League school in the big city. One guy spends his Sunday morning seated in the pew.
Does this seem weird to anybody else?
The other spends it throwing money at the pole. Can these 2 sports writers share a radio show without driving each other crazy? Live from the TireRack.com studios of Fox Sports Radio with Brian Noe sitting in for Chris Broussard. Here's Rob Parker.
Hour number 3 of the Odd Couple. We just had a fantastic Trash Talking Tuesday. Rob Parker and Brian Noe in for the vacation and Chris Broussard. We're broadcasting live from the TireRack.com studio.
We'll do it live.
Thank you, Bill. TireRack.com will help you get there. An unmatched selection, fast free shipping, and free road hazard protection with over 10,000 recommended installers. You heard me right. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Man, Brian, no, already 2 hours down. It's not like some of these other shows you fill in on or you do, where you got pulling your teeth, pulling your hair, and it feels like it's 9 hours. I'm just saying. No?
Yeah, no, it's definitely not like that. I was it's flying by, baby, cruising along here.
Unbelievable. And we got Trolling and Rolling with Martin Weiss coming up. That's at the bottom of the hour, about 28 minutes or so. So we'll do that. But in the meantime, Mr. No, want to get to the NBA and let's talk more about the gold medal and Carmelo Anthony, Rob G. Do we have sound of Carmelo? So Carmelo Anthony went on a podcast and said that a gold medal to him is bigger than winning an NBA Finals title. Let's listen.
Would you trade your 3 Olympic gold medals for one NBA ring?
I've never been asked that question. No. When we talk about global sport, for me, a medal means something totally different than an NBA championship. They both have their own separate meanings, but winning a gold medal, it's the passion, it's the pride that you have, not just for a city or a state, for a whole nation, for a whole country, you're winning for it. So it's a different level of, I would say, pride that you have to have when you're wearing USA across your chest or you're wearing Lithuania across your chest, right? It's a totally different feeling than Knicks, New York across your chest.
Sorry, Carmelo, not buying it. No way, no how, Brian. No. And I'm not unpatriotic, and I get it. You're wearing the red, white, and blue, and you're on the world stage. I'm sorry. If I'm an NBA player, winning an NBA championship is numero uno. The medal against a ton of players who I don't even know who they are, where they came from, how good the competition. When you're in the NBA, those are the 400 best players in the world. I'm sorry. And if you win a championship, just like when Carmelo won the college basketball championship, right? He was tremendous. You remember that, Brian?
Oh,
no?
Yeah.
Jim Boeheim should kiss his butt every time he sees Carmelo Anthony. Otherwise, Jim Boeheim would have coached for 50 years and never would have won a championship. Carmelo was spectacular. People always remember that. And this notion that you covet the 3 medals you won in the Olympics, and I'm not trying to poo-poo them or discount them or mean that they're garbage or anything. But it was easy for him to say that because he has the medals and he doesn't have the championship.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. That's what it comes down to is this is a hypothetical question, and he gave a hypothetical answer, right? Like, Rob, do you believe in your heart of hearts? We're talking about American basketball here. If this is Jokic and trading an NBA ring for a gold medal, maybe. I'll listen to that argument.
And you know what? And I agree with you. In those countries, it's totally different. They don't have a league of the level. I'm talking about of the level of the NBA where you consider it the best league, right?
Yeah.
You just don't.
Right. I think Jokic
even
would.
the Japanese players that come here, right?
Yeah. I think Jokic, if Jokic said, listen, I would trade my NBA ring
to win
for
a championship
gold medal,
for my
I would
country.
fully believe that, right?
100%. I'm with you on that.
But do you believe Melo? Like, if you could actually do this, you could trade your 3 gold medals for 1 NBA ring. If he could actually do that, I think he would. I think he'd be out of his mind not to do that. Because the gold, it doesn't mean nearly as much for your individual legacy as an NBA championship does, especially if it was with the Knicks. Good
100%.
Lord.
Carmelo Anthony was born in New York, raised in Baltimore. But if you were to go back and win, I mean, look at what they're doing with Jalen Brunson. He didn't even get out of second round.
I know
they're making it like he's the next coming of the Messiah.
Look what they were doing a couple of years ago when they beat the Hawks in the first round. They acted like they won a championship then. Like if Melo was the reason why they won a ring, oh gosh.
You know what? I still remember Cecil Fielder when he came to the Yankees in the trade and they won the World Series in '96. And he told me, he said, you know, winning a World Series or whatever, and the way that people responded to, he said he couldn't go anywhere in New York without people paying homage to him, helping the Yankees win a World Series in '96. He says the most unbelievable. He said, I don't care how I look, what I'm doing, or whatever. Somebody, he said, no matter where I went, would stop me and thank me for winning a World Series for the Yankees in '96.
Wow. Yeah. And I think you could flip it around also, Rob. What if, let's say Melo was a 3-time NBA champion and he was on a podcast and he said, hey, you know, the Olympics, they're going on right now. Would you trade those 3 NBA rings for a single gold medal? Hell no. You wouldn't even think twice about doing
Wouldn't
something
even
like
think
that.
100%.
Yeah.
And I just don't think the Olympics hold the same weight. And it doesn't mean that it's meaningless or there's certain events like the women have won. I know they had a nail biter to win this past one right against France. Is that who they beat? But they've won 8 straight gold medals. Is that? Right. I'm not really. So that the competition is that bad that you can win 8 gold medals in a row. I poo-poo that. I don't think that there's much competition.
I would say an
the
Olympic
men have won
gold
5
medal
in a row, right?
Yeah, that's right. An Olympic gold medal for an American basketball player, right? That's the and on your bullet point resume. It would start with league MVP, 3-time champion. Like it would start with that
Finals
and,
MVP,
yeah,
and he
gold
won
medalist, right? Like the gold medal for a Team USA player is the and. It's not the headliner. It's NBA championships, MVPs, like those individual honors, then you would get to the gold medals.
Everybody knows Michael Jordan is 6 for 6 in the NBA Finals. That's
right. Do you know how many gold medals does MJ have? I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not sure, but
Rob
we
G,
know
can you look that
it's
up? We know he won 1.
6 rings.
Did he win 2? Did he go twice?
You could play that game. Like you could throw out current NBA players. Like how many rings does this guy have? And you could just rattle them off. How many rings does Steph have? 4, right? Like you just rattle them up. How many gold medals does KG have? I have no idea. I don't know how many exactly.
You know when I knew that the gold medal didn't have the same meaning anymore is I had a gold medal. I put it on the windshield of my car, went into a restaurant. I came back out, and there were 3 gold medals there. I'm just saying.
That should have been the follow-up question for Melo, right? Is would you give up that bronze for an NBA ring, though, Melo? Would you do that at least, huh? Can we make that transaction?
I get it. I mean, if that's all you have, you're gonna covet it, right?
And Rob, listen,
I'm not mad at him. That's what he won. He's a
here's the
tremendous player in the Olympics. He won 3 gold medals. I'm not mad at him.
That's great, and it's meaningful. We're not saying it's meaningless. Like, think about LeBron. LeBron went to the women's gold medal game the day after, and he was wearing his gold medal, Rob. And I thought that was awesome. Somebody look at that like LeBron's looking for attention. It's a flex. But Rob, he had to work for that medal. He's earned a lot of money in his time here on Earth. He can't buy a gold medal. He couldn't buy a 13-point comeback against Serbia. They had to earn that gold medal. And that means something to them. And I think that's awesome. And we're not saying a gold medal doesn't mean anything. But for an individual legacy, it doesn't mean nearly as much for an American as an NBA championship. Not even close.
It's just not even close. And again, I don't know, Rob G. Did you hear any more of the podcast? Was there a pushback at all? Because, Brian, no, that's one of my biggest issues with some of these podcasts is no one, they ask people a question, they answer it, and there's no pushback. Like I would love.
It's the barbershop thing. Like you hate LeBron's show because there's no pushback ever.
There's no I tell you all at the barbershop, like I own a barbershop for 22 years, Brian.
That's all a barbershop is pushback.
Exactly. There's pushback. You could come in with that shirt you have on, that black shirt, and somebody would say, that's brown. That's not black.
Right.
That's what they say in the barbershop. That ain't black. That's brown.
Right.
What are you talking about? Like, they don't agree on anything. And in the LeBron shop, they all second everything he says.
Everybody agrees.
Everything.
Yeah. Maybe that's why you wouldn't get him on the podcast in the first place. A lot of the athletes just don't want pushback, or they're not going to do the interview.
Right.
Yeah.
But you cheat the listener. And that's all. Just the question. You don't have to attack him. Really, Melo? You were born in New York, and you wouldn't want to help the Knicks win their first championship since 1973? Do you know how you would be elevated? I get the Olympics and all these other players who played, but if you were the reason the Knicks won a championship, you don't think that would put you on a plateau like some of the great? Joe Namath played football in the 60s for the Jets. He's an icon there.
Right.
That's the last time the Jets won a Super. He's an icon.
Melo would be a made man. There's no doubt about it. And that city, Rob, we're talking of all the major sports combined, it's been over 100 seasons since New York has had a championship, right? And the Knicks have contributed to that, as we all know, right?
That's an unbelievable number.
It really is. So, yeah, not just for that city also, to have a championship again would be huge. This was an underrated part of that same interview, Rob, is normally I tune this stuff out when hey, who's your starting 5 all time? Normally I don't care at all.
Right.
But I thought this was kind of interesting. He was asked in that same podcast who his all-time Olympic starting 5 would be, okay? And Melo said LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Charles Barkley, I haven't heard Michael Jordan yet, and himself.
What? No Michael? No MJ?
No Jordan. Nope.
Is that unbelievable? There you go. And of course, the interviewer said, "Oh, that's a great
Oh
list.
yeah, that's a
Oh,
great.
that's a
Yeah,
great
that's
list."
funny. I had the same thing.
Crazy, unbelievable. We want to hear from you on this 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. It's real simple. Are you buying what Carmelo Anthony is peddling? Because I'm not buying it. I just can't buy it that he wouldn't want an NBA championship and that the gold medals mean that much to him. Maybe you're patriotic, more patriotic than me and Brian know. And maybe it really means something to you. And when the Team USA won the gold, did you shed tears? Did you wipe your tears with an American flag or a napkin facsimile napkin that was red, white, and blue? Did you get a big lump in your throat? I mean, I'm sorry, it just doesn't move me or move my needle that winning an Olympic gold medal. So 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. It is the Trash Talking Tuesday. Rob Parker, Brian Noe, in for Chris Broussard. Right here on Fox Sports Radio. Stick and stay.
America.
Job searching can be a lonely process, folks. Endless searches, phone calls that go nowhere, applications that vanish. Well, it's time for a better way to find a job. And Express Employment Professionals is what you need. It's the local jobs expert that you can trust, and they never charge a fee to help with your job search. Go to expresspros.com to find the office nearest you. Each year, tens of thousands of job seekers find work with the help of Express Employment Professionals, and Express helps people find all kinds of jobs, from manufacturing to logistics to customer service to accounting and more. Getting an interview with Express can be as easy as a phone call. And with just one application with Express Employment Professionals, you are in the running for numerous opportunities in your community. So make your job search easier by letting the professionals at Express be your talent agent to find you the right spot on a great team. Express Employment Professionals is your one connection for getting a job. Visit expresspros.com today.
It's here.
The climb starts. End zone. Let's make sure we start faster, right?
Guys you've heard of.
Hey, can't.
But mostly guys you've never heard of.
Get the first round pick.
2 words. Who cares? NFL preseason is here. Keep it locked for preseason news on Fox Sports Radio.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We can get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we can take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Life hack number 7. Get an iPhone 12 on Straight Talk.
Life hack.
Here's how it works. You walk into Walmart, go to the electronics section, ask for iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system, and select the new Silver Unlimited plan. They'll smile because it's a good plan. You get real unlimited data, all for just $20 a month for the whole first year. Get it at Walmart or StraightTalk.com. Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Taxes and fees apply. Requires activation of iPhone 12 and a new Silver Unlimited plan or higher end auto pay enrollment. $25 a month service credit applied for up to 12 months if eligibility requirements are met. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not a rate based on Terry who keeps and makes the car behind them. Oh no, they're about to. Save with DriveWise and the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
As fall approaches, you have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, sporting events, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus